Hey, how you guys doing? I hope you're staying safe out there. Here's another one of the lesson videos. First off, just want to let you guys know, please, please, please watch the video. I'm going to break everything down for you. I promise, okay? Because I've had a lot of people saying, I don't know what to do. If you watch the video, it's going to tell you exactly what you need to do for each of these examples, okay? As well as on this video, once again, I tell you exactly how to log on to Tone Savvy, so that way you don't have any issues, okay? So please, before you email me or send me a message telling me I don't know what to do, make sure you watch the video. Watch this video first. And then if you still have any issues, please feel free to give me a call or feel free to send me a message on Hangout or feel free to send me an email or a private message on Google Classroom, okay? With that said, let's get started. Yeah. All right, we're back, and here we are talking about our goals for today. Today, we're going to review the music staff, review ledger lines, but we're also going to introduce this concept of accidentals, and then we're going to introduce the concept of scales because it's scales which makes melodies possible. The scales tell you what notes you are able to use, so we'll get into that a little bit more. Here we go. Okay, remember, music staff, 5 lines, 4 spaces, no more, no less. Remember, we use the music alphabet we use is A through G. No more after that. Once you get to G, you go right back to A. It's always like that, okay? All right, remember, face equals space, F-A-C-E. Okay, remember, for the lines, every good boy or baby or Barbie does fine. This is how you're going to find the lines, okay? Now, soon enough, this will not be the case when we move on to another clef, but we'll talk about that right now. So for now, remember these, burn these into your brains. Okay, remember ledger lines, okay? These are notes that do not fit on the staff. They're either too high or too low, okay? And if it has a line, like for example, this C, what this is telling us is that if the spaces in the lines were to continue, this would be on a line. Like this would be on a space, okay? This would be in a space because it's underneath the line. This would be on a line with another line above it because it's saying, okay, this would be 2 lines down. This would be 3 lines down. And then the same thing going up, okay? So that's ledger lines. All right, moving on into the new stuff. What you guys see here are some important symbols that we use in music. We call them sharps, flats, sharps, flats, and naturals, okay? Now, sharp raises the current pitch by a half step, flat lowers the current pitch by a half step, and natural will cancel out any sharp or flat and return to the normal pitch. Now, you're probably saying, Mr. Stokes, we haven't got into steps and half steps, so I don't know what that is. Well, let me show you in the next slide. Okay. With sharps, flats, and naturals, the one thing a lot of you would always ask me is, Mr. Stokes, when I would be playing piano, what are the black keys? Well, congratulations. The black keys are sharps and flats. It just depends on the direction that you're going. So, for example, if I'm going up, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, if I'm going this way, then these are going to be sharps. So, C, you go up a half step to the black key, C sharp. Go from D, a half step, you go to D sharp, okay? Now, if you're going the opposite way, you're going back, B, A, G, F, E, D, C, B becomes B flat, A becomes A flat, G becomes G flat. And like for these two, instead of D flat, if we're going this way, E now becomes E flat, D now becomes D flat, okay? So basically, they're the black keys, all right? Sharps, flats, and naturals. Now, natural, what that means is if I've been playing a B flat throughout the entire song, but at some point the writer wants me to play a B, they will put a natural sign. We'll go back. they'll put this natural sign next to it, right? And then instead of playing B flat, I'm going to play B. It cancels out the sharp or the flat that is in the music that you've been playing, okay? Now, going on to this idea of scales, okay? A scale is any set of musical notes ordered by fundamental frequency or pitch, okay? A scale ordered by increasing pitch is an ascending scale. A scale ordered by decreasing pitch is a descending scale. Basically, what they're saying is if you're going up, it's going to be an ascending scale. If you're going down, it's going to be a descending scale. Um, that's what they're saying. But the scale is like a group of notes that are all related, with one note being the leading note. So the 1 and the 8, the tonic, is the leading note, meaning it is the ruler. It rules this little group, okay? Now, every one of these notes has its own group that it leads, okay? But for C major, this one, the C and the C, rule this group with the rest of the notes supporting, okay? But this is the order, and these are the notes that you would use if you were playing a song that happened to be in C. We call it being in C. It uses the C major scale. These will be the notes that you would play: C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. Okay, now there are two types of scales that are used in music, okay? You have major scales, like the one we saw, and minor scales, like this one below. And if you notice, it's using a few flats, okay? The type of scale that you will use will determine what your song will sound like. For example, C major sounds like this. All right, and then C minor sounds like this. Okay, now do you hear the difference? One sounds happier, one sounds sadder. And that is basically the main component to tell the difference between a major and a minor scale. Okay, so what we're going to do today is I'm going to show you how you can figure out a major scale. So scales are constructed using two types of intervals: minor second and major second, also called half step and whole step. So what's a second? A second is a note that is right next to the next note. So for example, C to D, these notes are right next to each other, kind of. So this would be considered a second. These notes are considered next to each other, these notes, and so on and so on. Okay, so basically, whatever note, whatever letter name is next would be considered a second. And there is an exception. Now, here's where minor and major come in. Major or a whole step is when you go from C straight to D, or you go from D straight to E, meaning we are skipping this black key and going straight to the D. We're skipping this black key, we're going straight to the E, okay? A half step is when you do not skip a key. You go straight to the key that is right next to it. So from C to C sharp would be a half step, or we would normally actually call this from C to D flat would be a half step. Okay, now here are some interesting half steps. E to F is a half step because we do not have a black key in the middle, so they are really right next to each other. Okay, same thing with B to C. We do not have a black key right here, so because we don't have one, they are right next to each other, making it a half step. Okay, now this is the pattern for all major scales. Okay, it goes from whole step, whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, whole step, half step. Okay, that is the pattern for major scales. I'm going to do that one more time. Whole step, whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, whole step, and half step. Now, I start with C because C tends to be the easiest one out of all of the scales because you know what we don't have for C major, we do not need to utilize any of the black keys for our scale. But this is the only major scale where we do not have to utilize any black keys. The only one. But we're going to go on to another one where you will utilize one of them. So this is the C major scale again. Okay. Now, this is what we would use if we were singing it, the solfege. Remember, we would sing this in class. This is what we would use to identify each of the notes in the major scale, no matter what note we started on. Okay, G major. Now, we start on G. Now, let us do our same pattern. Whole step, half step. Remember, no note there. Whole step, whole step. Now, this gets interesting. Yeah, buddy. The next one is a whole step, but wait. There's no black note here. So we can't skip a black note. So guess what we have to do now? We actually have to skip the white note. So we go from the white E all the way up to the black key, which we call F sharp. This makes a whole step. And then a half step. From F sharp, you go to the absolute next note, the G. Okay? So for G major, you're going to have one sharp, okay? And it's going to be that F sharp. Remember that. For F major, okay, same thing. We start on F, F to G, whole step, G to A, whole step. Now, from the next one is going to be a half step. So I can't go straight to B. I have to go to the note that is right next to it, which is the B flat. So you go from A to B flat, whole step. So we have to skip this B altogether and go straight all the way over to the C. So B flat to C, whole step, C to D, whole step, D to E, whole step, and E to F, half step, because we do not have a black note here. Okay? All right, here we are in Tone Savvy. Now, for those of you who are still having at times trouble logging in, make sure that you put the username I've given you, the password I've given you, and this teacher code. Super important that you have to have these, okay? So you log in, and then you go to 5th and 6th grade assignments. You hit view, okay? And then it lists all of the assignments that you have here. Now, you're going to see more. Look at those due dates. Those due dates are going to tell you when you can have them due. If you got time, you don't have to do it at that moment, but these are the due dates that it's telling you, okay? So you go to do now. Now it tells you scale building level 1. I put the same video that I listed in this material post right here. So it's here as well. So the only ones you're going to focus on are C, F, and G. So I'm going to hit start quiz. Gives you the first note, which is a C. So all we have to do is just go up. So you just click on the line or the space. Now, I will do this one. So we got F. So F to G to A. Now this is where it's different. We have to click the flat because the next note is B flat. Then you go back and click the natural one, the one in the middle, and you finish the scale off. Okay, that is how you do this assignment.